The sea whispered in the darkness outside a lonely beach house. Inside, Paulina Salas sat in silence, her body tense, her ears sharpened to every sound. Since the fall of the dictatorship, peace had supposedly returned to the country, but she had never been able to forget. Too many nights had been filled with the echo of a voice, the sound of Schubert's death in the Maiden and the terror of captivity. When headlights suddenly swept across the room, Paulina's heart jumped. She snatched a revolver from the sideboard and held it close, until the familiar voice of her husband, Gerardo Escobar, called out. Relieved, she had the gun away. Gerardo entered with excitement. He had been appointed by the new president to a commission investigating human rights violations. For years, he had worked toward this moment. It was the peak of his career, though Paulina sensed a strain beneath his joy. She knew better than anyone that such a commission would not cover everything. Not the rapes, not the tortures, only the deaths. Still, she gave him her cautious support, even as she reminded him of the judges who had remained silent through years of suffering. Hours later, another car arrived at the beach house. The knock at the door startled them. When Gerardo opened it, a stranger stood there, Dr. Roberto Miranda, who had helped him earlier that night when his car broke down. Polite and apologetic, Roberto said he only wished to check if Gerardo had returned safely. Gerardo invited him in. From the shadows, Paulina listened unseen. The moment Roberto spoke, her blood ran cold. His tone, his gentle choice of words. It was the same voice she remembered from the secret prison where she had been held, blindfolded, tortured, and raped. She said nothing, but inside her certainty grew. This was him. Later, when the chance came, she acted. She subdued Roberto, tied him to a chair, and pointed her revolver at him. Gerardo walked in, stunned to see his wife threatening their guest. She told him the truth, or what she believed was the truth. Roberto was a doctor who presided over her torture sessions, who had played Schubert to mask her cries, who had spoken softly even as she was brutalized. Roberto denied everything. He insisted he was only a doctor, a stranger caught in madness. But Paulina refused to believe him. She set up a tape recorder and declared she would hold her own trial, that she would not wait for commissions and judges who had failed her in the past. Gerardo tried to reason with her, pleading that justice must come from the courts, not from the barrel of a gun. But Paulina had no faith in the courts. She reminded him of all the victims ignored, of the silence of judges who had looked away. She would not allow her tormentor to escape again. The night became a battle of wills. Roberto, sweating and desperate, clung to denial. Gerardo struggled to mediate, torn between his legal training and his wife's anguish. Paulina, trembling but unyielding, pressed on. She recited the details of her ordeal, the music, the words whispered in her ear, the false kindness masking cruelty. Each detail weakened Roberto's defenses. Finally, Gerardo proposed that Roberto write a confession. At first, Roberto resisted, but faced with Paulina's unwavering gun, he began to speak. Slowly, painfully, he described the secret prison, the drugs, the interrogations, the humiliations inflicted in the name of order. His words matched Paulina's memories with chilling accuracy. When he finished, exhausted, he signed confession. The house fell into silence. Paulina held the gun, her finger near the trigger, while Gerardo begged her to let Roberto live. The man she hated most sat before her, helpless, waiting for judgment. She had dreamed of this moment for years, vengeance within reach. But dawn came without a shot. Weeks later, Paulina and Gerardo attended a concert in the city. On stage, the quartet began Schubert's Death and the Maiden. In the audience, Roberto sat quietly, dressed like any other patron. Paulina saw him. Their eyes met across the hall. The music swelled, beautiful and terrible. Paulina did not move. She listened, her gaze locked on him, her face unreadable. Whether she had chosen forgiveness, silence, or simply another kind of justice, no one could tell. And so the music went on.